What's up again guys, yeah it's me, Dovahkiin, and welcome back to my Elden Ring series. And before we begin, be sure to hit on the subscribe button for more great videos. Alright, before I feature this farming spot, just look at my armor set. Yes, I'm still using the Fire Monk set, except for the hood. And that's actually the Carian Knight Helm. Let me explain. In the beginning, I was really planning to use the Carian Knight set, maybe later in early game. Cause even though the Fire Monk is dripping with style with its fiery red color, I thought that it was just an average set when it comes to stats. I even mentioned that back in episode 2 in my Limgrave Caravan farming vid. Now that I've reached the later part of early game, it was time to get the Carian Knight set. So I made the journey to the heart of the Raya Lucaria Academy and snagged it in plain sight from a bunch of worshipping fools. But then, after comparing it, I found out that I was already wearing the better set all along. The Fire Monk set, on the other hand, is obviously dropped by Fire Monks, and the best spot to farm them is in the Eastern Tableland bonfire. There are two monks there. The nearer one is just down the road, and the other is in a camp. And it took me less than an hour to make the journey and complete the set. That's why I was already wearing it, way back in the beginning, in my palette episode at Stormgate. So for mage builds like mine, why are people saying that the Carian Knight is the best early game set, when you can clearly get the Fire Monk set as easily? Anyway, when comparing armor stats, just focus on equip load, poise, and damage negation, cause defense is primarily influenced by your level. That's why we're not seeing significant differences on that side, except for resistances. By the way, my astrologer's level is 82. As per equip load, the Carian Knight is only lighter by 1.9 points. And that is irrelevant because both of them are in the medium load range. On poise, obviously, the Fire Monk is better. As per damage negation, on the other hand, Fire Monk only loses on magic, lightning, by a very small margin, and holy. However, as you can see, the real difference between them becomes apparent when their damage negation sums are computed. So by narrowly winning on physical down to holy, and a huge 32-point difference on their summed resistances, clearly the Fire Monk set edges the competition. On a side note, people are also saying that its cousin set, the Black Flame Monk, is better. No, it's not. If you do the same simple math, they are practically equal. Fire Monk is better on physical down to holy, and Black Flame on resistances and poise, and both of them weigh the same. But at the end of the day, it's not red, so it's ugly as fuck. Anyway, going back to the Carian Knight, the only piece of it that's better than the Fire Monk is the helm. And that's why my astrologer now looks like an armored mage. Okay, to update you, here are my current stats at level 82. And as a mage who only focuses on mind and int, take note of my relatively high vigor, endurance, STR, and dex. I will explain that later. As per gear, I'm still using the same meteorite staff, and just an ordinary longbow for utility, in case I need to hit faraway objects, traps, etc. As per my shield, I've replaced the Beast Crest Heater shield with the even better inverted Hawk, which I got from the Shifra River. Yes, That's how you pronounce it, Shifra, and it's in Irish. Same goes for Evergaol. It's really Everjail. Anyhow, it was just near the riverbank bonfire. And next is Radagon's Soar Seal. The reason why I told you to take note of my attributes earlier. This one increases vigor, endurance, strength and dex by 5 points each, at the cost of increasing damage taken by 15%. Equipping it is like instantly gaining 40 levels, so the penalty is well worth it. You can snag it deep within Fort Farron, though you have to accept that it's gonna be a suicide mission, but again, it's well worth it. As per summons, I'm no longer using the wolves since episode 30, after defeating the Cemetery Shade in the Tombsward Catacombs in the Weeping Peninsula, cause I was rewarded with Utel the Headless, one of the best summons in the game. And as you can see, I've already upgraded her to +5. By the way, she requires Ghost Glove Words to upgrade. Alright, that's it. Let's proceed to the farming. I've already featured 3 farming spots for early game. First was a single troll in Stormgate, with a rate of 1000 runes per minute, which I farmed till level 20. Then I moved on to the Limgrave Caravan, with a rate of 1171 plus runes per minute, until level 40. After that, I farmed the trolls on Stormhill, which I featured back in episode 11. With a farming rate of 2703 runes per minute, up until level 65-ish. Now, as I've said, I am nearing the end of early game, so I have once again moved on to a better farming spot. But there is actually another spot even better than today's feature. It's near the Lean's Rise bonfire, also here in Caelid. Well, in Dragon Barrow to be exact. Which involves dodging a large solid ball. Then upon rolling off the cliff, it will give you 1952 runes in less than a minute. My problem with this is that I'm getting sleepy after a few minutes of running it. So I need something that will keep me on my toes. Thus we end up here in the Dragon Barrow Fork bonfire. By the way, this one will be much faster if you have fire spells, because the mob here is weak against it. I'm not a faith build, so I can't use fire incantations. As for sorceries, magma types to be exact, again, this is still early game, and I haven't progressed to the part where I can get those. As per early Ashes of War, the Flame of Redmanes works well here, but the damage of that skill scales with weapon upgrades and STR, and again, I'm an int build. Plus, I don't want to waste my smithing stones just to farm this spot, cause eventually I will move on to greener pastures. Anyway, in all my farming vids, I didn't and will not use or wear anything that will influence rune acquisition, such as the gold pickled Foulfoot or the golden scarab, to maintain a consistent baseline. As for the scarab, I could have gotten that already, if not for the fucking stupid Scarlet Rot. So, without further ado, let's begin the timer. So for 13 Guardians, that's 14,732 runes in 2 minutes and 36 seconds. And if we compute the per minute rate, that's 5,666 plus runes per minute. Take note of the plus, which means that sometimes the mob drops loot, which you can obviously sell for more runes. On the per hour rate, you'd get almost 340k runes. Another very efficient spot. By the way, I'll be farming this spot till I get to level 100 or something. Then, I'll finally take on Stormveil Castle. So, stay tuned in. And that is all there is for now. Thanks for watching. Also check out other videos from Sabbath Clan Philippines and don't forget to subscribe. See ya on my next vid. Peace out, yo.